Morning, everyone. Once again, it's Wednesday morning. It's 10 o'clock. It's time for us to go live. We're in conversation again. I'm sorry we took last week off. I had the audacity. I'm going on a holiday. We just came back yesterday morning. So if I look a little bit jet lagged, tough, that's just how it is. I am absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Victoria from Pocket Rocket Cleaning, a rescue cleaning service, long title. Good morning, Vicky. Thank you very much.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
I know you're super busy and there's lots of stuff going on, so I really appreciate you taking the time and joining me here this morning. So thank you very much for that. Please introduce yourself, tell the world who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Brian. I'm really pleased to be here. So my name's Victoria Gregory. As Brian said, I'm the owner of Pocket Rockets Cleaning Rescue. 4 years old, started the business, not 4 years old, the business is 4 years old. I started the business and we are just currently in the process of franchising.
Yeah, that's very exciting stuff. It's a milestone as well, I suppose. It's a testimony to how far you've come in these 4 years, which is wonderful. So I want to start by going right back to the very beginning for you and the beginning of your journey into this thing about being self-employed business owner, this whole scary, terrible thing. So what inspired you to get started with your own business? What happened?
So initially, Pocket Rockets isn't my first business. I actually started my first business when my oldest daughter, who's nearly 9, was just 6 weeks old. And I think it was the classic issue that a lot of sort of parents have after they've just had a baby. I previous to having my daughter, I had a full-time job. Was the shift pattern going to work with childcare? Did I love my job enough to pay half my wages out for childcare? Was it going to be flexible enough? All those sort of issues. And I found a network marketing company when Tilly was just 6 weeks old. And that was my first sort of insight to being self-employed, having that flexibility. And although I'm not doing that business anymore, that gave me the taste for kind of being my own boss and kind of, having my career on my own terms.
Was that Forever Living or?
So I did have Forever Living heavily for all of Tilly's preschool years. Actually, it did allow me to have that whole time off work. I went back initially when she was about 1, very part-time. The company that I worked for found me a part-time admin role, but I'd already fallen in love with my business by that point, and I found it really hard to work for somebody else. Yeah. So quite quickly, I just worked hard on my business so that I was able to give up work altogether, and I've never been employed since.
I think this is a wonderful thing because not the last stream we did a couple of weeks ago with Sheena, but the one before I did with Debbie Barrett, who is obviously heavily into multi-level marketing and that kind of stuff, massive into Forever Living. And we did a stream about exactly multi-level marketing and entering into the world of being self-employed. So to have you on here today to actually tell us that this is how you got started being self-employed, goes to show that how wonderful a place multi-level marketing is to start moving.
Oh, absolutely. And it was also the beginning of my personal development journey as well, because in network marketing, there's a lot of company events, there's lots of inspirational talks, there's lots of, you're encouraged to do lots of reading business books and lots of personal development, goal setting, reaching targets on the marketing plan, all that kind of thing. And although I probably like to think I've always been quite driven and quite ambitious, I've never really got it, didn't really know what personal development was, never really explored, goal setting, having a plan. I suppose I was just sort of winging it. And that gave me a real taste for it. Just opened my eyes to what can be achieved, and I started to think really, really big. And although I'm not as involved with Forever anymore as I used to be, I'm still a massive advocate of the industry. And it's not a coincidence that my cleaning company has done so well. That is testament to all of that personal development and business development I did while I was involved in network marketing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that there's a lot of wonderful things to say about companies like Forever Living and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a fantastic platform for people to break out from being employed to becoming self-employed. I think wonderful. So I want to move on from that a little bit. So talk to me about cleaning companies. So to go from Forever Living to owning a cleaning company, it's not very related, is it? So where did that come from?
It sort of happened a bit by accident, really. So, as I said, I had all of like Tilly's preschool years sort of off work, even though I was building my business. And then when she started school in September, all of a sudden I found myself with 6 hours free every day. And although I was still building my forever business at that time, I'd always done it very, very part-time, very, very flexibly around having a toddler at home. And I'm highly driven and I'm highly motivated, and I didn't sit well with me having all of this free time. And although I was, doing networking and all the other things, I kind of felt like, oh, maybe I've got time to take on a new project. And I do like to, challenge myself and start new things. So the idea was I was going to do a little bit of cleaning myself, just in the local sort of area. To me, I'm one of these strange people that love cleaning. I still needed to do something that I could fit around school run, school hours. So I kind of thought, right, I'm going to see how this goes. I'll put a few feelers out and see if I can just do a little bit of cleaning around school hours. And I set up a Facebook page. And within 2 days, my diary was full Monday to Friday, 9 till 3. And then people were inboxing me, asking me if I was taking on cleaners. So I kind of sort of went, oh, yeah, all right, then let's give it a go. And for the first year, the business ran me. I was just trying to keep up with the momentum, how fast things were going. Every single week, it seemed I was taking on more cleaners, more clients were flooding in. And for that first 2 years, probably, it was about 2 years in, maybe 18 months in, I was cleaning 6 hours a day and then doing all of the business, all the admin, everything you can think of, paying the wages, doing the contracts, timetables, training new cleaners, talking to clients, everything, all like that, sort of in between, clients, and doing it a lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights. So it was tough for the first 18 months, but it was exciting. It was like a nice problem to have. The momentum was ridiculous. And I could see straight away that there was definitely room to expand, because I couldn't physically keep up. I was turning clients away left, right and centre because I couldn't get enough cleaners in all the time. We still have that problem now. The issue's never been finding the clients. Having a cleaner is no longer a luxury. It's just something that people, outsource now because life is so busy, which is great. But yeah, so after 18 months, I needed some help. So I promoted one of my lovely cleaners into a team leader role and gave her some responsibility. And that was the best thing that I did. And Jo, she's now we've partnered 50-50 now to franchise. So
I think there's many things there in the journey. So let's just sort of, before we go further into this, for anyone who joins us here on the stream, firstly, thank you for jumping in. If you have any questions to Vicky about the stuff that we're discussing, please put in the comments, and we'll do our very best to try and answer these questions. If we can't answer them live here on air, then obviously we're going to come back to you guys with an answer to her best. But Vicky will do her very best to try and answer if you have any questions to her journey. So you described that there was a lot going on in that sort of first 18 months. That's the hardest part in any new business life cycle anyway, so that's not surprising to hear. But so from going from you just being the cleaner, you or the business, taking on cleaner. So in that first 18 months, how many cleaners did you find yourself having on the books after that sort of 18 months mark?
Oh, I don't know exactly without looking, but probably about 20.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a lot. So to go from being just working for yourself, filling in your own little diary to sort of top up, the income and all that kind of, so actually having 20 people relying on you to find them work, that's quite a significant thing. That's not a small thing, pressure-wise as well.
Yeah, it was a lot. The even just sort of organising 20 rotors and juggling all their clients, and it if one of them was off sick, trying to get cover, and you know what it's like. But a lot of businesses that have a staff have management teams and people to help.
Yeah.
I was sort of a one-man band initially. And there's still only me and Joe now. There are still days now where it's really get hectic. But like you said, that's just the nature of it, isn't it, when you're setting up?
So how did you sort of find, because obviously you mentioned that you did 6 hours cleaning a day. At what point in this journey did you find yourself that you could no longer go out and do those 6 hours a day yourself?
Well, it was actually forced upon me because, initially I did have a little bit of burnout and I ended up with shingles. So that put me in bed for a week. And that was a big wake-up call. That was when I sort of said to Joe, like, I need some help. But actually, a few months after I had shingles, I was pregnant with Phoebe, who's my youngest. And I worked cleaning until I was about I can't really remember, probably about 5 or 6 months pregnant. But then obviously that was quite a lot. It got a bit too much physically, because it is exhausting, and crawling around under people's beds and all that sort of thing physically became hard. But it coincided with the school holidays. Tilly had broken up in the July for 6 weeks, and then Phoebe was due in the autumn, so I just didn't go back cleaning after those 6 weeks were up. I think if that hadn't have been forced upon me and I wasn't pregnant, I would have found it really, really hard to let go of that. And even now, although I don't have any regular clients, I still probably clean 1 or 2 days a week, just when I'm needed to jump in and help out if we get a big job where there's not enough manpower, or if someone's off sick for the day, I'll jump in as and when I'm needed. Because obviously I'm running a lot of it from home, but I still like to be sort of seeing the clients regularly, seeing my cleaners regularly. If I'm working alongside with them, I can sort of check up on them without them knowing I'm checking up on them. I can do a bit of training without them necessarily knowing that they're being trained. I still love interacting with the clients now. So like yesterday, I went out and helped on a deep pre-Christmas clean for a lovely gentleman who's disabled, and he was so grateful, and it was actually a real pleasure to do that. So I don't know if I'll ever walk away from cleaning altogether.
Right.
I think it's important, even in 10 years' time, if we're a franchised household name, I still think it's important as the owner of a company to be on the ground, in with your staff and in with your team every now and again.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think there's many things to it. He says that there's the face-to-face with the clients themselves. There's the mental aspect of the staff knowing that you're not afraid to get stuck in there amongst them and all that kind of stuff. It's just physically finding the time to do it and to take it away from the office. Time away from the office to actually go and do it. So
absolutely, it is a juggle, and obviously Phoebe's 2, so she's not here this morning because my sister-in-law's looking after her for an hour just so that I can do this without her climbing all over me. But I only have her in childcare for 10 hours a week. She does sort of 2 short days. And obviously the rest of the time she's with me as well. So when I'm working from home, I'm not really, because I'm a toddler running around. So there's a lot of sort of bobbing in the office for an hour after bath time and that sort of thing.
I just want to touch on that because I think that's super important, because I think that's lovely to hear, because what I wanted to talk a little bit about is this wonderful thing, work-life balance. And so the fact that you're actually able to sort of work from home, have your child there the majority of the time, that's quite a wonderful thing, because I would imagine that sort of very early on in the journey of Pocket Rocket, that the work-life balance could quite often be quite stretched, couldn't it?
Absolutely. And obviously I didn't have Phoebe at the start until he had started school. So although I needed to be on the school run and I wanted to be available to kind of attend the assemblies and the sports days and be able to take time off during the holidays, I did have a chunk of time every day. But obviously in the early days, those 6 hours I was cleaning. So I did struggle with the work-life balance. The first year, like I said, there was a lot of late nights. Now I feel like, although I do have hectic days and hectic weeks, I feel overall I've got a great balance. As I said, Phoebe's with me most of the time still. If I wanted to put her in full-time childcare, I could do. I choose not to because I'm in business for myself for that reason. And there's only going to be like 1 or 2 more years, and then she'll be at preschool and off to school anyway. So while I'm in a position to sort of have her at home with me, I mean, there's the odd day where I call on grandparents for help if I need to, do something important at the last minute, and that's just how it is. But I'm in business for myself for that time freedom. That is the most important thing to me, more than the money, more than anything else. It's the time freedom. That to me is absolutely priceless. And they're only little for such a short time.
Yeah. Super important. I think it really is. I think having that freedom to make that choice, that is what being self-employed is all about. As you say, yeah, money and all that kind of stuff, wonderful. We like going on holidays and buys nice shoes, but what you're describing there, I think it sounds absolutely wonderful. So how many cleaners have you got on your books now? Because I know you're starting into this journey of franchising, which I want to come into in a little bit. So you've gone from zero, just yourself, to where you are right now, 4 years in. How many cleaners have you got on your books now?
So there's still only about 30. There's not hundreds.
That's a lot.
The way that it works, and it used to be a bit of a bugbear for me, but I've just come to terms with it now. The way that the business works, there is just a high staff turnover. We've got some ladies that have been with us since day one, and some people come in as a bit of a temporary measure until they find something else. We've had a lot of, if I counted how many cleaners we've had over the years, there's obviously way more than that. When people were furloughed from jobs or their business closed down temporary. During COVID, we had some cleaners come for some temp work. We've got students that go off to uni and then come and do work for us in the holidays. So there's lots of different people all the time coming and going. There's still probably about 30 core people. And we're covering like mainly Lincoln and surrounding areas. We are still looking for like team members all the time. We can fill somebody's diary just like that as soon as we get a new cleaner. We are very selective who we take on there, and a lot of people come to us and maybe they don't have a driving license, which is so difficult because a lot of our clients are out in the villages, they're out in the sticks, so it's tricky if people don't drive. But we're looking for team members all the time, and as you say, we're trying now to franchise out into different towns and cities, which we absolutely know that we can do. The demand is there. Yeah. It's just getting it all set up.
So that takes us nicely into sort of my next sort of question type thing. So because obviously you've gone from starting this company up and now 4 years later you're finding yourself going into this sort of franchise journey. What inspired that? What late night epiphany did you have? That sort of made you take that step?
If I'm honest, I've probably been thinking about it for a couple of years. I've known that it's possible and it's something that would work, but the timing wasn't right. Obviously, I was pregnant and then I had Phoebe, and then there was COVID and lockdown. Everything was a bit, up in the air. I mentioned it to Jo a few months ago. She was a bit, not sure. And then the universe has a way of presenting things at the right time, don't they? And I was introduced to a lady who specialises in helping people to franchise. Okay. And she was running a free 2-hour workshop on, hints and tips and information on how to franchise. So me and Jo logged onto that. Was like, there's nothing to lose by logging onto a free workshop. And it was just mind blowing. And we realised when we came off the workshop and we rang each other straight away, we were like, we're halfway there. All of these systems and these things that this lady's just talked to us about, we've already got most of it in place. It's just tweaking and making it perfectly duplicatable, and obviously getting the legalities sort of tied away. And so we were just so excited. We were like, right, it's now or never, let's just do it. And that was a couple of months ago now. So we're currently having like the franchise agreements written up, the website redone. We're obviously promoting, we obviously need to pilot first, so we're going to have 2 or 3 pilot franchises running for sort of 6 to 12 months before we can actually, we feel like we can advertise properly and go to franchise fairs and that sort of thing. So we're currently looking for pilots at the moment. That's the stage that we're at, and we're developing training programs behind the scenes and things like that. So
I think one of the things that sort of over the years I found with really good business owners, really good entrepreneurs is the fact that they're not afraid of changing. They're not afraid of making a jump. And I think that we've obviously known each other now for, I don't know, a few years now. And it's always wonderful when I see people that is not afraid of making the jump. And I think it's safe to say that you're certainly not afraid of taking on a challenge, making the jump into something new. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I have absolutely no doubt that you're going to do fabulously well, because everything you do fabulously well. So these pilots you're doing, what areas are you have you got specific targets for those areas that you want to pick up, or can anyone around the country who sees this, can they apply to?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere around the country would work. We're advertising at the moment locally to Lincoln, but out of Lincoln, so sort of Newark, Gainsborough, Scunthorpe, Hull, Nottingham, so that because we would still like to work closely with the pilots, so it would be ideal if they were close-ish, so that we could do face-to-face meetings and trainings. However, with the internet and technology, Zoom these days, geography isn't really a limitation. So if somebody in Inverness or Cornwall wants to, set up a franchise, the hope is, eventually that we will have a Pocket Rocket franchise in every town and city in the UK. So at some point, we're going to have to take that leap to make it less local anyway. It's geography has no limits really, which is really exciting.
I suppose in the beginning, regardless of where people are, you're just going to get lots of miles in your cars when you go.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're prepared for that. We're expecting to do it. So
when is the cutoff date for people who wants to apply to become one of these pilots? When have you said a date for when?
We're hoping to start piloting early next year. We haven't got a specific cutoff date, but we'd like to have some pilots up and running by sort of February, March time.
Okay.
We'd love to have the pilots sort of running next year, so that in 2023 we can really ramp up selling franchises. We can turn up at the big franchise fairs, knowing that we're not winging it. We know what we're doing.
No, I think that sounds like a realistic target as well. So for anyone who comes in and enjoys this stream, whether you see a little snippet of it or the full thing, if you have any interest in becoming a franchise of Vicky's business, please connect with her. If you're not already connected with her on LinkedIn or Facebook, please connect with Vicky. I can't stress enough how fabulous she is and how great her business is. So please connect with her out there. Vicky, I'm just conscious of time. I know you're very busy. We've been live now for going on 25 minutes. So anyone who joined us, if you have any questions when you see this video after, please again put your comments in and ask them, and both myself and Vicky will come back to you if you have any of those that we can answer for you. Contact Vicky if you're interested in becoming a franchise of this fabulous business. So thank you for joining me, Vicky. It's been a pleasure. And
thanks so much for having me.
Anyone out there, thank you for watching. This is going to be the last one we do this year because we're getting close to Christmas and all that stuff. So we're going to be back in January doing more of these little talks with people who are self-employed, who runs the business, to talk about something perhaps a little bit deeper than just the business itself, but the person behind it. So thank you all for watching. Have a great Christmas and New Year's, everyone. Trying to get some time off if we can. We're busy business owners, but we do need that time off. So try and get some rest, and we shall see you all again in the new year. Thank you for joining us.